Well, it is that time once again when we come together on our wonderful program, Live to Lead, a program that is designed to inspire you and me, to encourage you and me, enable you and me to live lives of impact. We believe that as long as you are alive, you have been given a chance to make a difference in your generation, to make a difference in your area of influence. So we welcome you today, even as we continue on this particular episode where I'm going to have some conversation with my guest that I'm going to introduce to you shortly. But we would like to say thank you so much to Bishop Ending Klapo, who has made it possible for us to have a session like this on television. And we encourage you to support us in whatever way. And the most basic way of supporting us is to get people to watch us on this channel, to watch us on Facebook live streaming, GNF, to watch us also on the GNF TV YouTube channel. And then, of course, in many more other ways, financially and otherwise. So welcome to this show. And today I've got my friend, Dr. Alamein Kateko Mnene. Welcome, Dr. Alamein Kateko Mnene. I hope you are well. I hope you are fresh and you are feeling good today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Dr. T. It's an absolute pleasure and honor for me to be here once again and connecting with you there at home or wherever that you may be across the world. But it is a privilege for me and I'm feeling good and I'm excited about being here.
Wonderful. And then, of course, as you know, you may be used to Dr. Alamein Mnene, who is a leadership consultant, who is a systems thinker, and is a senior consultant at Tibane Group. And then he talks on many things. But today, it's a freestyle kind of a session. It's very conversational. So I'm going to be asking him about his journey of leadership. Are you a leader?
Oh, yes. I'm privileged to be a leader.
Okay, now you have used the word privilege. Why do you say you are privileged?
Because as a leader, you need to be given the right to lead. Okay. It is the people that allow you to lead them.
All right.
So I am privileged because people saw it fit to get direction, guidance, help, whatever it may be from me. Mm-hmm. And therefore, assuming that responsibility, the decisions that you make can influence their destinies, can influence their lives, can change them forever. So it is a privilege to actually be a leader.
So was there a time when you were not a leader?
Well, not necessarily. Because, you know, the age-old question that is always asked, are leaders born or leaders made? And we've come to realize that actually both. So in every sphere of life that I've always existed in, and I think all of us, it applies to all of us, there's always been a time where you have to assume a role of leadership. You might not have been aware or conscious of it, but there were times where you literally had to assume leadership. So I can say, I've always been a leader, just like everybody else is a leader. They just have not realized that.
Yeah. So would you say then you are getting better at being a leader?
Well, most definitely. You see, the more you become conscious about that, the more you become intentional in how you lead. Meaning, the more you grow, the more you realize that you do not know. And therefore, you're always seeking ways to become better. Mm-hmm. And therefore, as you're seeking ways to become better, it means you read a lot. You submit yourself to someone of higher authority. You pray intentionally. You study the word. You think differently. You associate yourself with people who are different in terms of their thinking and even better than you. You always looking for ways to sharpen yourself. And as a result, you end up growing and becoming better. So definitely.
Yeah. So if there is something called getting better at being a leader, we must then agree that we can talk about someone's leadership journey.
Absolutely.
Well, let's talk about your leadership journey. You gave me a very vibrant, absolutely. So that indeed there is something called a leadership journey. So let's talk about yours. As far as you can remember, where, even on hindsight, where did you begin to see that you are actually a leader? Let's talk hindsight now. When you think back, can you trace your leadership journey to some point that you remember in your mind? And what happened for you to get better? What contributed to you getting better? Who are the people you associated with, or etc., etc., the mistakes you made, and blah blah blah. Whatever you went through, that contributed to you becoming better as a leader.
You know, I can literally trace at the earliest point, maybe there's been earlier points, obviously, but the earliest point, which was significant, it was in high school.
Okay.
So I'm a child of I'm born by pastors,
Okay.
grew up in the church. So I've always had those leadership roles here and there to play. But there was a point close to the end of my high school journey that I became part of then it was, I think SCO, Student Christian Organization.
Yes.
And somehow the leadership role sort of navigated to me being part of the leadership and actually leading, where I took a stand, where I wanted to combine schools together, things that was not happening at the school where I was, in fact, in the area where we were. And I remember, even people started to come, excitement started to build up. I remember when we were leaving matric eventually, there was even a prayer that the leadership asked and say, please, would you ordain a Joshua? So I got ascribed the role of a Moses, and I remember praying for the guys, and they took it up and they ran. But so those were the roles that I started to realize that I cannot just live my life anyhow. I remember one particular incident when during that time when we're still, in high school, you tend to like girls and so many other things. And there was a girl, we sort of liked each other, and she came to the session to support me, But I would always try to push her away because I cannot be seen to be, dating people around and so forth. But the point I'm trying to stress there is the fact that already I was aware and conscious that as a leader, you cannot just do anyhow. You have to protect the people who are watching you.
Yeah. So let's hold it right there, because then you said you realize you can't just leave anyhow. So would you then say that when people conferred on you the leadership role, it then humbled you? Yeah. So which means, therefore, that there must be something that we can call the burden of leadership.
Oh, yes.
The responsibility of leadership. Yeah. Can you talk a little bit more about what you would regard as the burden or the responsibility of leadership? Or put it this way, what responsibility or burden does leadership put on a person who is asked to lead?
One of the things that for me that happened was I saw many people claimed to be Christians, but never wanted to be in Christian meetings or gatherings. I would see how people would be bored during the day, during lunchtime. But you ask them to come to this meeting, they wouldn't want to come. And then I got bothered by that. Now, because I got bothered, I decided, let me do something about it. So my point is this: when there's a burden upon you, it comes as something that irritates you.
Okay.
It comes as something that makes you uncomfortable. Now, it grows to the point where it needs you or it requires you or pushes you to do something about it. Because there's many things that irritate us. But then there's a burden is something that irritates you to the point of annoyance where you end up acting on it. And this is exactly what I did. So great leaders who change lives and societies and communities you'll find that the burden became so much on them that they were willing to risk everything to make it happen. So it's not to say that everything
Yeah.
that annoys you is something that you need to pursue, but there's that thing that really pushes you to that limit. So as a leader, when you've got that burden, you will know that once I start to act on this, then you will be willing to be persistent and persevere
Yeah.
because you want this thing to be changed.
Wow. I'm having a feeling that, because you've just mentioned only one incidence or one area, which is high school. But between high school and now, there are many areas that we have gone through. And I'm afraid to ask you to go through each one of them because we won't have time.
Yeah.
But maybe you can mention those defining moments, but pick up one that you truly believe actually accelerated your leadership development. So just mention a few, but then pick up on one that you can stay on to say, look, this is what really accelerated me and took me from one level to a much higher level in terms of my ability to lead.
So directly after that, I remember I went, okay, so there's been so many things, but let me just recall a specific one where I used to work with high schools. So I changed to move into a different province. At the town where I used to stay, I then decided, let me go into schools and work with kids in high school. And so would provide counseling for them. Would help the teachers in terms of how to manage them, their emotions, and so many other things. And the kids would always come to me for advice and help, and so they loved being around us. And would also initiate, Christian movements while we're there. But the other one is that I also got ushered into the pastoral ministry, where I became a pastor and led a church. And I grew up, during the ranks from a youth pastor to an associate pastor to actually becoming the lead pastor. It was at the time, that's the one I'm going to pick up. It was the time I became the lead pastor, or the senior pastor, as others would understand it, that my life really changed. Because now all of a sudden, every time I had issues or challenges, I would defer it. I would actually either defer it, or I would just take it over to my father, who was the senior, and he would handle the difficult things. Now all of a sudden, the difficult things are up to me. Now all of a sudden, I need to cast the vision in terms of the direction of the church. Now all of a sudden, people are bringing in matters and their issues, and some of the things that even I myself personally am struggling with, but I need to help others to find solutions for them.
And how old were you at that time?
I was 22 years old.
Wow. When you became a lead pastor?
No. At the lead pastor, I was 24.
24, yeah.
Yes.
Still very young.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I got ushered into that, and now I've got all these challenges that I have to face, marital counseling, issues that I've never done ever before. The good part is that I love to read and I love to learn and ask questions. And I associate myself with great people and great mentors who are then willing to help me on my journey. So I would always go to them. I've got this challenge, what do I do? I've got this challenge, what do I do? And they would help and coach me in that journey. So that role really pivoted me into the space that I'm in.
And you have worked with various organizations, and one of them is the ICANN Foundation. I want you to talk to me about what you learned at the ICANN Foundation from our beloved brother, Dr. David Molapo, because I was there as well. I spent 2 years with David Molapo. And by the way, if you are watching Dr. D, we salute you. You have done a great job. He's been a father of Black motivational speaking in South Africa. And we can't take that away from David Molapo. So talk to me about your experience there in the sense of development, accelerating your growth and development, exposure to the industry, because what you have talked about this far, it was more in the church circles.
Yes.
But I think the ICANN Foundation exposed you to the corporate world. So talk to me about that.
If there's a man that will go down in history in my life as a man that I respect, is Dr. David Molapo.
Yeah.
How so? The first time that I encountered him, and I had the privilege to sit with him and we were chatting, and he says to me, the first thing he said was, God has seen your tears, and I've come to answer that. And I thought, my goodness, this is, people just talk. And then he says, your gift is for the world, and I'm going to expose it to the world.
Wow.
I got home, we spoke about it with my wife, and we thought, no, this is not real. And he came back and he said, let's do this. And he took me, he put me on international platforms. He exposed me to the world, the corporate world. He showed me how to speak differently in every setting, where you still take the same principles, but you apply them differently. He would throw you in the deep end.
Yeah.
And
He's,
you learn how to
he's very good at that, and throwing people into the deep end, because he believes too much in people.
Yeah. And he always said, I'm going to stretch you. Oh, that he did.
Yeah.
But then you also taught me the business side of things, to say, if every voice must have an invoice, this is how you invoice.
Yeah.
This is how you package things. This is how you sell it to the world. And you taught me as well hard work. The man as an absolute hard worker. So these are all the things that I would be there with him, and I'm learning and I'm observing. But as I'm doing with him, I'm also observing how he is. There's one story that I always tell about him. There was a time that something happened a few years while I was still, coming into where there's a relationship that went sour.
Yeah.
And that individual walked into the room where he was, and I saw him look down, because I know what happened. So I saw him look down, and then quickly, myself and another colleague, we went to him, and then he says to us, I don't know what to do. Tell me what I need to do. And I was like, whoa, is this Dr. David Molapo, the great, who is being vulnerable before us?
Yeah.
And I thought, for me, I realized there's a human behind this. So he's not a super machine with all the answers.
Yeah.
But he's willing to be vulnerable to people that he can trust. And we said, no, just be yourself. And so everything then went well.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. So he was human, but was also exceptional at what he does. And the levels of excellence, it was really great.
Wow.
So I love that about working with him.
I'm sure we'll have a full show, on David Molapo, Dr. David Molapo, on the contribution he has made to so many of us as consultants, as speakers, etc. But I want to ask you maybe one more last question. Because the first part of your leadership journey was more church, Christian, biblical, etc. And then now you are in both the church space, but also the corporate space, the business world, government and private sector, etc. How did you make a shift, or even bring about a balance? Because it's not like a shift from church to corporate as if you have moved away from church. But how did you manage in your mind, your exposure to leadership started at a church level, grounded in biblical principles. And here you are now, the corporate world asked you to come and talk on customer care, conflict resolution, relationship intelligence, etc. And these things are not necessarily, love one another as the Lord has said, love one another. So how did you make that transition to still remain a Christian and still consult for churches, but now also consulting in the corporate space, and you've got this one mind that knows, you still know the Bible, you still have the scriptures, and then now you're in a space where you are not necessarily going to say, let's open from the book of John chapter 3 verse 16 or something. Yeah.
As you grow in the word, you start to realize that there are principles in the word, and those principles are universal. Number two, you start to realize that people are people. Whether they're in church or in the corporate space, they are still people going through struggles and all sorts of things. And my work is to help them on that journey. So therefore, I'm able to take the same principles that I apply in the church space, and because they apply to the basic human being, and apply them still at a corporate level. Things like, let's understand each other, let's talk to one another, let's plan, have a vision, all those things. I mean, if we consider your book, The Reset Blueprint, your most recent book, a phenomenal piece of work. And you know, most of us who've read most of your work do attest to that. But if you read the book, you start to realize that there are actually scriptures in there. Because you've extracted the principles and the wisdom in the verses for that. So that's what happens in me coming into that space. You realize these are still people going through the same struggles. What people don't know as well is that because we work together with Dr. Tibane, even when he's we are on a corporate level in government and we're speaking, doing strategy, we're praying. He's standing up there, I'm praying in my heart. Because God is with us through it all. But then we know how to then deliver the wisdom. We know how to touch the hearts of people. We may be doing just a strategy session, but people come and say, you've just helped me with my marriage. You've just helped me with a problem that I've been facing for the past 10 years. You've just helped me with this, because we bring the wisdom to the people. So once we stop the mind of, you know, trying to say this is church and this, start coming at the basic human level. People are people, and they need our help.
But then, because I don't want the viewers, there may be a young pastor who then wants to follow your steps, but then they miss certain steps, because then they would say, here is a person who has been ordained as a pastor, but there he is now in the corporate world. We have seen Miles Monroe preaching in the church on a Sunday, but during the week, he's consulting for a hotel or whatever, a client, and people then think that if you're a pastor, you can simply make it and go and consult, because wisdom comes from God. But then there must be something that you guys do that gives you the language.
Absolutely.
Because I'm sure that Coca-Cola, Vodacom, Department of Health, whatever, there's a certain language they're expecting.
Yes.
They are not expecting, you know, the words that are articulated in the book of Revelation.
Yeah.
You know, so what closes that gap? Because I don't want people to be confused.
Absolutely.
There
absolutely.
are things we're not talking about. There must be something else that you did which gave you the business language, the corporate language.
You see, that's the part that I wanted to say when you're asking the question now, to then say, we have studied to learn even the language. When you go into corporate world, when you go into government, the language is different. So therefore, you package principles based on those languages. Now, if you go into government, you can't go into government without studying their documentation. If you consider the amount of hours we spend sitting down and reading up on the National Development Plan, you know, we're starting to read up on, you know, whatever structure that or information that they're busy working on, we read so that we can be better on it. If you go into the corporate world, you learn even corporate jargon. You know, you learn those fundamentals and so forth. And then you read from other even consultants and other writers, so that you know more in terms of the language that they use, so that you can package that wisdom in the language that they understand.
But you must tell them that also people must study.
That's
you have done PhD on leadership and management.
Yes.
You see, I studied medicine for 7 years, and then I practiced medicine for 7 years. And then I left medical practice and got into the business consulting. Now, the truth is, at medical school, they taught me about hemoglobin and ankylosing spondylitis and hypertension, etc. But the clients out there, they want a language such as conflict resolution, productivity, etc.
Yep.
I also needed to go to school again and did some diploma in business management and did my master's in leadership and management. But far and above that, you know, it's crucial that you also then, you know, develop the love for business books and leadership books and corporate books, management books, etc., etc. Read the Peter Druckers and the Gary Hamels and the Stephen Coveys and all other people, so that even though you've got a wisdom from God, but you can actually package that wisdom using the business language. So I didn't want us to miss out on that little gap there, so that we do not confuse people. Well, there's a lot we haven't talked about on his leadership journey. So we want to encourage you to watch us again, because I'm sure in the future we are going to deal with issues on how do people actually make it, begin somewhere and move somewhere and become very versatile. Talking Dr. Alamein Mnene, he has not shifted from church to corporate. He is actually oscillating between the two. In fact, like he said, he doesn't really see any difference. He's a consultant helping people to get better, whether they're in church or they're in corporate or they are in an NGO. Wherever people are, people need help. So thank you so much, Dr. Alamein Mnene, for your time today. And we trust that God will bless you. And I know you have written a book, and now you told me you are thinking about writing another one or expanding the same book, but whatever it is, may God bless you in your journey, even as you get better and better.
Thank you.
Well, there you are, friends. Thank you so much for joining us on our program, Live to Lead, a program that is really designed to help you and me to live lives of impact. And these programs come to you with compliments from Bishop Ending Klapo, the founder, the visionary of God Never Fails Revival Church. And we are so thankful for him to give us this space to do the things that we love doing. And for you to continue seeing this program being done over and over and over again, helping millions of people across the world, we need your support, and your support is very easy. Get people to watch us and to like our Facebook page, to like our YouTube channel. But also, if you want to make some donations so we can keep this license operating, the details are on the screen. We shall be thankful for you to do that. God bless you. We'll see you again next time, same time. Thank you.
We serve a God that never fails. All things are possible. What is impossible with man, to our God is possible. He is Jehovah El Shaddai. He is Jehovah Shalom. He is Jehovah Rapha. He is Jehovah Mekadesh. The Lord who sanctifies and makes holy. He never fails. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. And the Bible says he came to his own, and his own received him not. But all those who received him, he gave them power to become children of God. You can receive him today. He will never fail. Mbukele ekhaya, thumela isicelo sakho nge-SMS manje ku-35793. Abaningi bathumele iy'celo zabo, uNkulunkulu baphendulile, iy'manga ziyenzeka, bafakaza izinto ley'nkulu. Nawe thumela isicelo sakho ku-35793. Noma yini ofuna ukuba ngikukhulekise kukho, thumela. Le SMS iza direct kimi, Bishop Endinhlapo, ngikhonza uNkulunkulu ongahlulekiyo. Thumela i-SMS yakho manje 35793. uNkulunkulu akubusise.
ngendlala indumiso phezu kwalameva ukuze akhonseke kahle yenu uThixo ngendlala umhlabelelo phezu kwalezinyembezi ukuze akhonzeke kahle yenu uThixo sidinga uphawu lukamoya ongcwele simbathise ngomoya oyingcwele sidinga baba siyashweleza kuwe sidinga uphawu lwakho moya ongcwele simbathise ngomoya oyingcwele sengiyacela Nkosi ukuba ngifikele namandla ngiyawadinga ukuba ngifikele nakuba izilimo zingikhungathileke ngiyahluleka uma ngingyedwa ndalaboshekhethelebesatha riadelebeshakatalaboshiyakatalabosheke siyahluleka sisonke Nkosi ukuba ngifikele nakuba isilingo abathakathi bangihlasela singikhungathizile kodwa uma ngingenawe ngiyahluleka ngingedwa ngiyahluleka uma ngingedwa baba ngiyahluleka uma ngingedwa ngiyahluleka uma haleluya Asula-sule, afune yodwa elahlekile emathelweni. Asula-sule, afune yodwa elahlekile emathelweni. Asula-sule, asula-sule, afune yodwa uJesu elahlekile. Asula-sule, asula-sule, afune yodwa uJesu elahlekile. Asula-sule, asula-sule, afune yodwa elahlekile. Eyethintaba, eyethintaba, yoniphelela emaphakatheni. Eyethintaba, eyethintaba, yoniphelela, iphelela, 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 iphelela emaphakatheni. Iphelela, 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 asula-sule, asula-sule, afune yodwa uJesu elahlekile. Asula-sule, asula-sule, afune yodwa elahlekile. Iphelela, iphelela, iphelela emaphakatheni. Iphelela, iphelela, iphelela emaphakatheni. Eyethintaba, eyethintaba, iphelela, iphelela, awu eyethintaba, eyethintaba, iphelela, awuza, awuza, asa, woza, woza, asa, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, Zaya, sit, say Zaya, 1, 2, iphelela, simbonge thina sonke. Ake simthumise thina sonke. Ake sithandaze kuye. Ake thina sonke simbonge. Ake thina sonke simthumise. Siyabonga moya ngcwele. Siyabonga bayende. Siyabonga mhlekazi. Siyabonga bayende. Wena wathi ngcwele. Bayende.
We serve a God that never fails. All things are possible. What is impossible with man, to our God is possible. He is Jehovah El Shaddai. He is Jehovah Shalom. He is Jehovah Rapha. He is Jehovah Mekadesh. The Lord who sanctifies and makes holy. He never fails. In him was life, and the life was the light of man. He was in the world, and the world was made by him, and the world knew him not. And the Bible says he came to his own, and his own received him. But all those who received him, he gave them power to become children of God. You can receive him today. He will never fail. Mbukele ekhaya, thumela isicelo sakho nge-SMS manje ku-35793. Abaningi bathumele iy'celo zabo, uNkulunkulu baphendulile, iy'manga ziyenzeka, bafakaza izinto ley'nkulu. Nawe thumela isicelo sakho ku-35793. Noma yini ofuna ukuba ngikukhulekise kukho, thumela. Le SMS iza direct kimi, Bishop Endinhlapho, ngikhonza uNkulunkulu ongahlulekiyo. Thumela i-SMS yakho manje 35793. uNkulunkulu akubusise. The word became flesh, and the word dwelled among us, but the world did not recognize him. And the Bible says he came to his own, and his own received him not. But all those who received him, he gave them power. He gave them power. Shout power. Our God can do anything, can do everything. But there is one thing that God cannot do. God cannot praise himself. God cannot praise himself. That is why God created me and you for one reason, to praise him. The gospel of Jesus is the gospel of power. For the preaching of the cross to them that perish is foolishness. But to us which are saved is the power of God.
Greetings, viewers at home. Siyanibingelela babukela emakhaya. Of course, you are watching Esther for such a time as this. Welcome and welcome. Niyazi babukela emakhaya, we're discussing women issues. And today, of course, we are discussing a topic, ET, Born to Lead. Hashtag Women in Leadership. And today, of course, I'm joined by the beautiful ladies, the strongest ladies, the phenomenal ladies about leadership. Leadership, welcome.
Thank you, Spongile. Thank you so much for inviting us.
How are you doing?
Well, I'm good.
Are you doing
Thank
good?
you.
Excellent.
Oh, wow. Welcome on Esther Show.
Thank you.
Finally, you are here.
I'm very excited.
I'm excited as well. I am so excited. And I feel honored, I must say, ladies, thank you so much for honoring the invite. I feel so special. I feel so important. I would say, you know, I want our people like you guys to come and join us for Esther Show.
Thank you so much.
No,
for
it's
having
a
us.
pleasure. It's a pleasure.
It's a pleasure. Okay, guys, greet the viewers at home and introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. Mina igama lami Nozicelo Ngcobo. I work for Coca-Cola Beverages. I'm the Director for Public Affairs, Communications and Sustainability.
Wow. Babugeli, she is a director.
Yes.
The big boss. Not just of any company. Of course, the Coca-Cola
Oh my
Beverages.
goodness. Oh my
South
goodness.
Africa. I mean, really. Welcome, Sis Nazi.
Thank you so much, sister. I'm so excited. I'm looking forward to spending time with you.
Yay.
So,
And Sis.
Sanibonani babukeli ekhaya lona ungithabiseng uMaphophe. Umama uMaphophe is a businesswoman, a hustler, and umama wabantwana bayithu, a retired manager.
Okay.
At 40, I'm not saying he resigned.
Okay.
Retired manager with customer services and sales in the big corporate Italcom, which used to be one of the giants telecommunications company. But yes, thank you so much for inviting us, and I know we're going to have fun.
Yay! Babugeli, niyababona? Let me just read bio abo or their profile. So nizobona ukuthi we're not playing here. We are not here to play. This is we mean business, guys. Asidlali. So ngizoqala ngosis Nthabiseng. I-profile kaSis Nthabiseng. Okay, education-wise, she has a national diploma in human resource management. Currently studying her MBA. Wow. Master of Business Admin. Oh yeah. Work experience. Her corporate journey started in 1998 when she was offered a temporary assignment by Telkom SA. The Telkom, not just any company, guys. The Telkom. Through Kelly Personnel Recruitment Agency. As a result, at the Reminder Service Business Unit. In September of the same year, she was appointed permanently after a well-proven record of achievements. Through her corporate journey, she has found opportunities that were empowering, engaging, and encouraging in every business unit. She was placed in different management positions. Her passion and desire to learn more, to do more, and become more. Wow. Into sales and customer services and managerial positions. So she has held lots and lots of managerial position. In leadership, guys. We are not here to play. And then she has been involved in lot and lot of leadership programs. As I just said, we are talking to the women in leadership. So she has been involved in ambassador program, executive development program, personal program, mentorship program, FLDP, which is female leadership program. As we all know, Esther, we're all about women empowerment. We're all about women standing. We're all about women occupying space and taking up space. That is her profile. These are high profile. Wow, welcome, Sisi.
Thank you for welcoming me, and thank you for reading that. What do they call it? A CV? Is it still a CV? I am looking for a job. She just read my CV. Thank you so much.
And then I'm going to read the profile. Of course, a director of Coca-Cola Beverages South Africa. A female, I must say, a female, a woman who is a director. Not just any company. Coca-Cola yonke babukeli. I mean, I can't wait to have a conversation with these ladies because these are like powerful ladies. Okay. Sis Nostello started her corporate career in 1994 when she was recruited by Sasol into their management trainee program of the top 16 academic graduates in South Africa, class of 1993. In addition to Sasol, Nostello has since worked for listed companies such as Telkom SA. Oh, there's a connection here. South African Breweries, which is SAB, as well as multinational organizations, Philip Morris International and Coca-Cola Beverages South Africa, CCBSA. Nesicela has demonstrated track record in successful managing complex regulatory in industries such as alcohol, tobacco, and recently soft drink. Wow, this is powerful, ladies. Education, I'm just gonna skip some here because education-wise, she studied at Cambridge University, UK. Wow, and she also studied at Gordon's Institute of Business Science, which is GIBS. Studied Masters in Business Admin, which is MBA, specializing in business strategy. Wow. Work experience. She is currently a PAX director or a PAC director at Coca-Cola Beverage South Africa. She has worked as a director as well in Tiger Brands. She has heard as stakeholder relations in Philips International, South African Breweries, and as an executive director. I mean, ladies and gents, especially ladies, if they can do it, what can stop us? I mean, look at them.
Nothing.
Normal people as us. Wow, guys, I must say I'm inspired by you. It's so inspiring, and I feel so proud to call myself a woman in such a time as this because of you guys, especially an African woman. Wow.
Take this from the prayer, Ubaba Wetu Sezulwini. Where if you unpack it, it says your will be done. Thy will be done. So when I lack answers, I always say, what would you have me do? Ngenzeni, tell me.
I want to do everything as per your will.
Yeah, what would you have me do? So for me, the book of Esther is a very profound account of God's purposes for our lives, his demand for obedience, and the fact that he'll continue to work behind the scenes. Unlike the olden days, you won't see a burning bush. But God works through people.
Yes.
Usathane ngeke umbone efika lana with his horns. He works through people. So it's always about reflecting about God's purpose and believing ukuthi he is there. Ukhona. And if you
I might not feel his presence, but to call.
Yeah, but that's what faith is. You know, you don't have to see it. It's him, whatever. But ula, and when that small voice, it's
Yes.
I'm not saying no, I'm just saying not now.
Yes.
So for me, the book of Esther, and again, the last thing before us is saying aphendule. Every single one of us, you don't have to be who knows or a director, you don't have to be a successful businesswoman, or Untabi saying, absolutely every single person on this planet, every single one of us, we have a purpose. Even if it's to ukususa umuntu umphazamise kancane nje for 2 seconds imoto idlule ingamshayisi, that is your purpose. Ukuthi when that person was born, nawe wazalwa ngoba there was gonna be a time ukuthi nihlangane and you are saving the future president, you are saving the future scientist ezofika ne-vaccine ye-COVID, etc. etc. So don't ungazenyezi ukuthi mina ngubani ngiphumaphi, I don't have this, I don't have that. Have courage.
There's a reason why you are here.
On your space, I'm here. There's a reason I'm here. Give it to me, God.
That's powerful.
So that's what the book speaks to me on. Those are the issues that it speaks to me on.
There's a purpose. You are here. There's a
all
reason.
Of us.
Each and every one.
All of us, sis. All of us.
Powerful. Yes.
For me now, Esther is a vessel of exceptional leadership. Wisdom and courage. When you read the story, Esther was on the odds. She's Jew, you know, and in a space she wouldn't otherwise be recognized or be respected. And when she heard of what is about to happen, you know, Ngoba Isita had made a plan, or Haman has made a plan for the Jews to be killed. She could have easily allowed fear to take over and selfishness to control her. You know, inadequacy, fear is also inadequacy. Which I'm not enough. Yes. I can't go to the king and you know try and save my people. I cannot come out and say I am Jew. Self-doubt. Am I worth this position? You know, am I good enough to go to the king without being summoned? The other thing, fear of things going wrong. What if I go there and he's not in a mood? Because otherwise, according to the Bible, there was a golden pole, a golden thing that the king would just point to say, now you are allowed to come in. If you would go anywhere near the king without an appointment, you would have died. So Esther, instead of thinking of those things, she actually had the courage, because for every fear or for every scary thought, there's a healing word for it, which is courage. That's what she had. She had so